What is going on, guys? Thanks for in the chamber once again. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be taking a look at a new character in set 3, Endeavor 2. But we're going to be playing actually a really budget list. This is going to be friendly for anyone who's kind of getting into the game. You know, you have a rival deck and you're looking to make it a bit better, but you don't want to pay a lot of cash. The deck list that I've prepared here is a 60 card deck list that you can play with one rival structure deck, just one, and about $50 USD. That's at least the time of recording. You know, prices will change depending on when you view this. That's how things go. But overall, this is a very affordable deck list that does some really neat things based off kicks. Actually, we'll get into all of it as we get going. But if you want to play like a kind of aggressive budget list to just like rush people down and hit them with big bombs for big strong damage, this is definitely the deck for you. So Endeavor 2. Real quick, we'll go over him. He's a new character that comes out of the starter decks, his being the Endeavor starter deck. He's a 6-handed character with 31 health, which is quite a bit, but all of his abilities cost him health. He's got an enhance to give a attack +2 or +2 speed or +2 damage. You're going to be pumping speed with that at least in this deck. Occasionally you might pump damage if you're pretty sure you're going to get there anyways, because we do have a lot of speed pump, but most of the time we're using Endeavor. It's just another way to make our moves faster. Defensively, he has 2 more enhances. He can lose 2 life and give an attack -4 damage. So if you can't block an attack, it's kind of like giving it -2. But on some pokes, losing 2 life to give it -4 can be a little better, because if it drops the move to 0 damage, they don't get momentum. And then you can lose 2 life to give something -4 speed, which just makes it glacially slow, so it's an easy block. So you're going to be hemorrhaging life as the game goes on, so you are on a clock. We don't have a lot of ways to recover that life, really. You just use your abilities and your life total to kind of buy yourself just enough time to kill your opponent. So that's going to be it for our character. Let's get to the attacks. So to start, we play a playset of Hellflame Stomp. Stomp is a attack that comes in the Endeavor structure deck, and if you look in the bottom right of the screen, you'll see that we've added a price tracker. I'm only going to be adding prices for cards that do not come in the rival deck for Endeavor. So for example, if you look, you'll see we have the price only for 1 Hellflame Stomp, because it comes with, 2 Hellflame Stomps, because it only comes with 2 Stomps. So you'll need to buy 2 more. Stomp is the card that kind of sorry about that, I coughed. Anyways, yeah, this is the card that holds the whole deck together. It's a kick and a fury, so it plays off all of our attacks and our keywords. It's a 4 low for 4, so it's got decent stats as a poke, and we really benefit from the enhance that it can give it extra speed or damage. This is a very good card to pump up to like 8 speed between itself and Endeavor. Makes it very hard to block. Their opponent's probably going to take it, which means it becomes momentum, which will play into the rest of our deck. Now, as I mentioned, we're playing a kick package and a fury package. Our kick package, we're playing a couple of edict cards. So to start, we're playing 4 Recipro Extend. Now, these are the fancy RLE promos, but you can get these for like a few cents. Extend draws cards. Just on its face, you get a draw card when you play it, so that's pretty powerful, since it helps replaces itself in your hand, helps you with building and having defense later, and then it also makes your next kick more powerful. It gives a +2 speed and +2 damage. So that's kind of why we're maxed out on the Hellflame Stomp, because Stomp will trigger off both the Fury cards we're playing from Endeavor and this card here. So Extend makes this into like a 6/6, and then we can make it into like an 8/8 or like a 6 low for 10. You can do some like really nasty stuff with this card. We can also use it to pump the last kick that we're playing, which is our 3 copies of Recipro Burst. Burst is our kill condition in this deck. We play a ton of ways to make things fast. For those that don't know, Burst is a 5 difficulty, 3 low for 5. Its main gimmick is that it has an enhance to effectively gain damage equal to its speed bonus. So it's a 3 speed move. Its enhance gives it damage equal to its speed -3. So for example, if you have a 10 speed move, it gets 7 damage. Which is a lot, and we have ways to pump this to like crazy high totals. It has EX3 on its face. It comes with stun 1, has a response that when your opponent commits a card, which will include the stun 1 on Recipro Burst, it gets another speed. So you can pump this to like 17, 18, 19 speed. Sometimes you just get like really high values and then give it like 16 damage, and it's like a 19 low for 21, and people just explode. So it's a great kill condition. Into the Furies, to start us off, we play a playset of Ignited Arrow. The rival deck, the starter deck only comes with 3, so you're going to need a 4th copy, but it's okay, it's not very expensive. and that's all factored into our budget. This card's neat because in our deck, it either gives us a momentum for our Recipro bursts, or it gives us another attack, which can help find our pieces, because this deck kind of, all the attacks play off each other, so you tend to have to play certain attacks in strings. Otherwise, it's a 2 high for 4, so it's a great poke. Your opponent doesn't really have a good choice whether they block it or they don't block it. You, as the Endeavor player, will get something out of this card no matter what. Let's actually move those over there. Moving along, we play 2 copies of Prominence Burn. I'd love to play a 3rd copy of this card, but it's just very expensive. And like I said, this is a budget list. This whole deck costs about 50 bucks. Sorry, not counting the cards that you get in the rival deck. So you can play this deck for very cheap. But Burn is a 4 high for 7. We can remove a card to give it +2 speed and our next Fury attack +2 speed. Most of our attacks are Furies. We have like about 2/3 of them. So this will usually have a target. And if we play it on a 7, we can remove the Fury that we have behind it and hit our opponent for 3. That doesn't come up too often. Usually you'll play this as an opener and then pump, like, you know, so like other Fury attack, like a Hellflame Stomp for big damage or big stats. Moving right along, we play 2 copies of Detonation Launcher. This is our last attack. You could really replace this with like any Fury with a high block because you want to keep your block zones decent. We use this because most of our attacks are either mids or highs. So we can use Detonation Launcher ideally as to follow a high and snap a momentum. So if we play like Detonation Launcher into like Ignited Arrow or Prominence Burn, are the 2 good cards that really combo with this attack. We can snap a momentum, and then, you know, Prominence Burn can get rid of it if they block this, so you get damage, or like I said before with Ignited Arrow, they don't really have like a winning choice. So this just helps us build our momentum to kill our opponent with later. But you can really replace this with like any Fury attack with a high block that you wanted. That's it for our attacks. It's a 60 card list and we're playing 19 attacks, so it's not too thick. You shouldn't have a hard time finding your citrus cards in this deck most of the time. Getting into, actually we play a few set of actions here. We play a play set of Go for the Win. Sometimes we have to make long strings, and we are playing a 6 diff, so it can be a little easy to be just short to safely play cards. And Go for the Win helps us smooth out going for like bigger turns. And sometimes, depending on, you know, what the board state is and what attack you're on, you can slam it. God, I still have a cough, I'm sorry. You can still slam this response to give attack speed based on your opponent passing, which eventually they're going to end up doing. We have a lot of buttons we can click to do like small stat adjustments on our foundations and off our character. So getting our opponent to pass and enhance isn't very hard. It happens a lot just on normal gameplay. So it's very easy for us when we're doing like our Recipro bursts. If we have 1 or 2 of these in our hand, we can slam the burst and start pumping at speed. If our opponent ever passes, we can slam these and get even more speed on it. Or if you have like a buffed up Hellflame Stomp, that's going to be lethal. You do the same thing. You can pump it and then pass it and send it. Very good card for us. And then we play 1 copy of Sugar Rush Power Up. I'd love to play more than 1 of this card, but again, we are on a budget. So when you find it, it's great. This is just a way for you to give an attack +2 speed, +4 damage on command. It's really good for when your opponent thinks they're just barely going to survive the attack to push at that next stage. It's frequently better than just being another attack. We almost never use the other enhance on it. Into our foundations, let's start with the zeros. We're playing 4 Quick to Act. Quick to Act is the foundation that comes in the structure deck for Endeavor. So you're not going to, you don't need to get these, it comes with 4. We fry through our own health a lot, so being at half health or less isn't a very big condition, and we have some ways even on our own turn to burn our health. So even if we start a turn like 21 or 22, we can fry ourselves pretty quickly to get down to the halfway threshold for Endeavor, which is 15. So that way we can start giving more speed to our moves. Now, we needed another 0, so we added a playset of Internship with Best Genist. Best Genist, it has an Earth Enhance. For any new players watching, even though this is a fire deck, that means that it only checks for your character to have that symbol, not for this to be the symbol your deck is built on. So this is a fire deck, but because Endeavor also has the Earth symbol, we're good to go. And all Internship with Best Genist says is that when you play it, not build it, so when you play it into your card pool, you can mill a card and your opponent has to flip a foundation. gives you a little bit of board hate. It's just a decent 0. Moving along into our 1s, we play a playset of Fastest Flame. We're a fire deck, so every attack we have has the fire symbol. This is just flip for 2 speed. It's our best it's our best 1 difficulty foundation. It's great with Recipro Burst. It's great with Prominence Burn or Hellflame Stomps. Like anything that we've already pumped to put like damage on it that's already very damaging. Being able to flip Fastest Flame and just put a little more speed on something for the kill. Great card. We also play 3 copies of Press Conference. Press Conference helps us smooth out our attacks. Like I said, sometimes you have to play a Fury and then a Prominence Burn, which is like on a 7. So being able to make that a little easier is nice. Sometimes even you'll have to play a Recipro Extend into a Recipro Burst, which is on a 6. And if you want to help smooth that out and make Recipro Burst a 5, this card's also good for that. Just kind of helps smooth out our attack strings. And then finally we played 3 copies of Ice Gliding. This is a Todoroki 2 card, but it's very cheap. This just gives us some on-demand speed hate. We can commit to give something -2 speed, and then if we get the block, the next attack gets -1 speed. Alternatively, we can give our stuff speed, and then if it gets blocked, our other attacks get bonus speed. So it's a very flexible card. It's just really good. It's a nice inclusion over the cards the Revel deck comes with. Next, we're into our 2s. So to start, we play 3 copies of Coping. Coping with number 1 is our card advantage tool, in addition to Ignited Arrows and Recipro Extends. Sometimes we kind of need to draw and search for cards to find our pieces. This is a bit of a not quite combo deck, but a lot of the attacks combo together. So we want plenty of card advantage. Our attacks are very fast. And on defense, we're kind of willing to let our opponent hit us a little bit because of how Endeavor works. So the condition on Coping with number 1 is very easy. This is usually just commit, draw a card. Onto the most expensive foundation we play 3 copies of Heroic Lineage. Lineage is a pricey foundation, but it's worth every penny. It's basically speed hate on your opponent's turn and damage pump on your turn. We have a million ways to increase our attack speed, and when we do that, we can commit to give it 2 damage. And so if you have a couple of these out, that can help you get that last few points you need to go for the kill. And on defense, if your opponent ever pumps the damage of their moves, you can give it -3 speed just by committing in response to that getting the damage bonus. So this card is kind of multi-purpose. Both purposes are very good. They come up very often. Very good card. Moving right along, we play 3 copies of Nervous Habit. This is an extra way for us to burn through our own health total. Sometimes your opponents will try to leave you at a little too much to start using your quick attacks. So with Nervous Habit, we can really fry through our own health. If we're going for a kill turn, it gives us even more speed on top of the other ways we have to boost speed to make our attacks very fast. Just an all-around very good card for what we're doing. It's also stun hate, but that doesn't usually come up. Most of the time, you'd rather have the foundation on board. Into things a little more technical, we play 2 copies of Self-Propulsion. Self-Propulsion, if we connect with one of our Fury attacks, which most of our attacks are Furies, we can immediately snap this into our momentum. So this is just like an extra way for us to get momentum off of our board to, again, help us get that last few points of damage we might need to go for the kill. We play 2 copies of Frozen. Frozen is good if we have to start making long attack strings on a turn where we're going for the kill, because destroying a foundation is only a cost if we don't win the game that turn. And the effect for Frozen for destroying foundations is we get to commit our opponent's cards. So this has really neat synergy with Recipro Burst, because we can destroy a foundation, make them commit a card, so they have one less card to block with, and then Burst gets a speed, we can stun 1, gets another speed, very quickly Burst gets out of control. Nice little utility foundation for us. Speaking of utility, we play 2 copies of Irrefutable Force of Nature. This is just a toolbox card. Almost every good foundation in the game has either water or earth, and this card can commit to disable by sealing either a earth, fire, or water foundation. If our opponent's just not on any of those symbols at all, or doesn't even have cards with those symbols, which is rare but can happen, we can also just remove Irrefutable and seal just any card. This is like a defensive tool piece. It'll disable important defensive pieces that our opponent has, and sometimes offensive pieces that they have to kill us. You know, if you pass it back around, disabling like a 1 with nature can totally save your life. Almost at the end, we also play 2 copies of Latent Skill. Latent Skill is just a bit of hand fixing. Sometimes we don't quite have the tools that we need. Like I said, our attacks kind of synergize and combo together. So Lane Scale is a way for us to pitch cards we don't need and hopefully find cards that we're looking for. And then finally, as a single one of, we play 1 copy of Soul Piercing Glare. It's not the best card, but if you're playing this off the Rebel deck, you're going to have it. The ability to flip random cards that your opponent commits. It does play mind games with your opponent, since it gives you tools to punish your opponent for committing resources that they otherwise might be inclined to. Sometimes if we don't have a way to clear our card pool, we have to play a bunch of attacks to go for the kill. Be able to remove a foundation, to remove a fury attack that was blocked. Can help us reduce our progressive difficulty just enough to go the distance. But it's unique, and we really don't benefit from having multiple copies in our deck, and you only own 1. It's just a nice little way to finish off our 60 card list. And with that out of the way, I'm going to give this bad boy here a shuffle and fix my board. I'm going to show you what this looks like in a live demonstration. Alright, so I've got this pile shuffle, then now I'm giving it a few regular shuffles. We're going to do 1 or 2 more on camera real fast. Give ourselves a cut. We've got our life tracker here. We're on the left. We won, so we're going first. Let's see here. This hand's great. So we're going to go first. We're going to build 4. There's our checks. Build these down. Let's say our opponent builds 4 and passes. So we still have these 2 cards in our hand. Gonna get some more internships and a detonation launcher. We can hold on to the launcher. Let's start with a Recipro Extend on a 4. Checks a 3. We can commit this pretty easily for 4. And we'll just say that our next kick gets +2/+2. Starts as a 4 for 4. Let's say our opponent lowers the speed a little bit. We're going to draw a card. We got a Recipro Extend. That'll be useful later. Let's do Endeavor. We'll lose a health. Give it 2 speed. And then we kind of want this to connect. So we're going to flip a Fastest Flame for us to make it 7 speed. If they have like a 2 mid block, they're going to be on a 9. So they'd have to check a good card. There's a good chance they'll just take this hit first because it's only for 4 damage. So I have them at 28 health as like a 6-hander. And then we're going to play a Hellflame Stomp on a 4/5. Checks a 5. It comes out as a 6/6 because it's a kick. We can do Endeavor for 2 speed. We can do our character for 2 speed. Or I'm sorry, our character, Hellflame Stomp. So we lose 3 health. And this is a 10 low for 6. So there's no way they could block this, which is 4 foundations. Even if they had like a 1 low block, that's like 5 cards, so they're on 11. And like I said, they had a 6 check, but they're probably going to take this. And then we're going to go building. Let's go on a 3, on a 3, on a 4. On a 3, checks, internship. On a 3, checks. We're going to do internship and respond, so they flip a foundation. And then on a 4, checks a 5. We're going to do internship. They'll flip a 2nd foundation, and we're going to build these 3 cards down. And then we're going to keep our momentum. Put that right over here. We really want to hold on to this Recipro Burst that we drew, but we have a detonation launcher. Realistically, we'll probably lose 2 health on like a poke that they play. We're going to lose 2 health for some speed on a beefy high. So here's our block. You know, we got plenty of cards to commit. And then maybe they get in for like another like 8 after that. So they hit us like 3 times, let's say. We're going to ready up our board. Now what would really be sick is if we hit a Recipro Extend here. If we do, we got him. If not, this is going to be a little close. Oh, we got a Sugar Rush, so we still got him. So we can play Recipro Burst on a 5. Check a 5. Starts out as a 3 low for 5. We can do Fastest Flame for 2 speed. We can stun one, so they commit a card. There it gets a speed. Let's say they give it like -4. Let's say that's how much speed hate they have is like -4. We can do Frozen and destroy a foundation. They commit a card, so for speed. We can do Endeavor for 2 speed. We can EX3 once for 3. And then we drew the Sugar Rush, so we can go on a 2. It checks. We have to remove 10 cards, but the cards removed don't really matter. This attack gets 2 speed and 4 damage. Ooh, I slightly miscounted going through this. Because I can only make it for 16. I guess if they had -4 speed, maybe not. Yeah. That's a little rough. I did my math slightly wrong here. Well, we should still put them on it. So we are a 10 speed move. They can't block this since after they played 3 attacks and committed a couple, there's no way they block it. So we're at 10 speed. We can give it 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can't block this, so they're going to take it. And we have another burst in our hand. We're going to have to be a little careful here because we're only at 14. Depending on their board, you could also just go for another Versapro Burst on like a 6. 5 here, 6. Again, starts as a 3 for 5, but we can destroy a foundation to make them commit a card. It gets us a speed. We can do Endeavor for 2 speed. It has stun on it. That gets it a speed. So this can be like a 7 low for 5 and they're committed out. So we probably still get there since they're only at 4. Or they're only at 2. Even if they like half block this, they're gonna take the last bit. So we probably got there. That's a little tough with just doing a live demonstration. If I kind of impromptu gave them the -4 speed, which is a lot of speed hate. Obviously, if they don't have that much speed hate, we get there because if they can't lower our speed, then our attack is 4 speed faster, so we get 4 more damage. So that's a good example. Well, you got to do your math first, and this is just kind of like a live demo with no opponent. In that case, we got a turn 3 kill, which is pretty good. That's going to wrap up our deck profile for this. Like I said, it's a very cheap budget deck, about 50 bucks. Very easy to get started in playing, doesn't cost a lot. Pretty straightforward. It's a blast to play. You make all these like incredibly fast moves that do a bunch of damage. You're just slinging Handmakers left and right. Super sweet deck. If you're trying to take your Endeavor deck and give it another leg up, you want to spend a little money, I would copy this list to a T. From there, you can poke at it. There's more improvements you can make. But if you're starting out, this deck is very good for how cheap it is. That's going to wrap us up, guys. Thanks for in the chamber once again. I'll see you in the next one.